It sounded like an explosion. Everything vibrated. I mean, it was short. It was only a couple of seconds, but the whole house was vibrating.
There's been plenty of accounts of what people thought they saw, like a smoke trail in the sky.
Has brought a rare snowstorm to the American desert. Over 12 centimetres of snow fell on the US state of Arizona.
Indonesia's Mount Sinabung has spewed volcanic ash reaching 8 kilometres. As the number of residents who have left their homes stands at more than 6,000.
These are the biggest bushfires of the Australian summer so far. Dozens of homes are feared destroyed in the hills around the city of Adelaide in South Australia. More than 800 firefighters have been brought in to tackle the blaze. Local officials are calling these the worst fires the area has seen in more than 30 years.
Two children have been pulled alive from rubble after a landslide destroyed several houses in central Bosnia, killing one person.
January the 5th, 2015, in Enderby, British Columbia. We've probably had over a foot of snow in the last 24 hours. Pretty nuts. Probably the most snow I've seen since I've lived here.
There's another home on the other side of this yellow or white house that it's also been pushed off of its foundation. And we're just hearing more. We're just hearing more come down here.
Zor, çok zor. Erzurum'da ilk defa böyle kış görüyorum. Vallahi çok
This
zor.
video footage captured in Israel shows a woman struggling to walk down a street in a central Israeli city. Violent wind, which eventually knocked her down, hit the city as the whole region braced for a blizzard. Heavy rain fell and strong winds blew waves that hit the city's shoreline. Meteorologists have said that the storm would likely dump between 25 and 60 centimetres of snow in the city.
A winter storm of snow, freezing conditions and rain continues to hit large parts of the Middle East. In Gaza, 2 babies have died from the cold as flooding is reported in many areas. Drains and anti-flood infrastructures remain damaged from Israeli bombardments. In a refugee camp in Jordan, hundreds have had to be moved because of flash floods. 2 people have died from the cold there. Refugees in many regions in the Middle East are facing misery because of the winter conditions. 4 Syrians, including 2 children, have also died from the cold in Lebanon.
Record snow, wind chills, 50 degrees below zero in some places. I-65 near Chicago, covered in ice and snow, the backup for miles.
Throughout the southeast, at least 8 confirmed tornadoes. The service was going on, and the steeple gets ripped from the church. It's not stopping there. The freezing line plummets into the southeast, all the way to the Gulf Coast.
In western New York, with near zero visibilities there, leading to road closures, including the New York State Thruway.
In Chicago, they're using fire to warm up train tracks.
Dangerous conditions from New York to the Midwest. I-94 in Kalamazoo County, Michigan, shut down Friday due to a massive pileup involving nearly 200 vehicles. One truck filled with fireworks, igniting and lighting up the freeway like the 4th of July. Watch as this car hits the crash site, ricocheting off the road. More cars and trucks skid towards the pileup, sending waves of snow into the air.
You can't do anything. The Canadian truck driver died. 23 other people were injured so badly they needed hospital treatment.
Reported on those earthquakes in Texas, felt in and around Dallas. Well, tonight, word of yet another one. Now, 11 earthquakes in just the last 24 hours.
When you think earthquakes,
Yep,
we're having an earthquake. You think California, Japan, maybe Mexico, but Texas?
Did we just have an earthquake? Yes, ma'am, I believe we did.
In the last 24 hours, nearly a dozen small quakes clustered near the town of Irving, leaving Texas-sized cracks.
It's just like a line just coming through. It's just like it just separated my house.
Rattling the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area.
There are more questions than answers about a boom so many of you heard across Oklahoma today. Listen to this. People reported hearing this from Edmond, Norman, even Shawnee. But some experts are just baffled about what it could be.
I'm calling because we're hearing continuous sounds like explosions.
We're hearing loud explosions. My house is shaking. The horses are freaking out. Does anybody know what's going on?
Anthony said the boom shook his house so hard his windows rattled.
It sounded like thunder, but like I said, you could feel the ground shake, and it was nothing like an earthquake. You know, we felt the earthquakes before, and it's nothing like that.
The USGS said there were no earthquakes at the time.
They're landing everywhere. They're everywhere. Hello, hey, Jerry. Oh my God.
damage left behind by a suspected tornado in London. A garage collapsed and roof tiles were blown off properties following severe weather in Harrow. Firefighters described the destruction as like a scene from The Wizard of Oz, after the sky went black and thunder and lightning ensued.
Every power line and every edge of every roof. Look at the birds. Oh my God. What is up?
Denise, I heard them myself this weekend in the downtown area. I even tweeted about them to see if anybody else heard them. I understand you've been hearing them too.
Yeah, I heard it too. The one I heard was just one loud, singular boom. Folks in Kennesaw say they heard the first boom around 6 Sunday night, then several others until about 9:30. From Carroll County to White County to Walton County and just about everywhere in between. One woman even caught the booms on video. We checked with the Telescience Museum to see if they had any reports of meteorites or even earthquakes. They said no. Kennesaw police looked around, but they couldn't find the source of the boom either, leaving a lot of folks coming up with their own theories.
Plate tectonics and the poles shifting.
Are you reporting the loud bangs?
Yes, do we have to move our family?
I have no idea what they are.
Oh my gosh.
911 operators in the Plainfield area answered more than 200 calls this morning, reporting another significant earthquake, the strongest of several since last Thursday. This time experts say the quake measured a 3.3 on the Richter scale, much stronger than the previous ones, which served as a rude awakening when it struck at about 6:30.
Sinkhole in Lafayette nearly swallows up this SUV. The driver still inside, teetering on the edge of a 15-foot deep hole.
For the second year in a row, Avon Lake Regional Water is asking customers to cut back. Slush in Lake Erie is limiting water intake at the plant. In fact, the plant bringing in about half of its normal water amount. And this issue not just limited to Avon Lake Regional Water. A similar issue is sprung up for Aqua Ohio. They're asking its customers also to take part in a similar water reduction.
Last night, 180 millimetres of rain fell in just 3 hours.
It turned some roads into raging rivers. Locals there recorded these pictures as fast-moving water tore down suburban streets.
Many homes in Manado, North Sulawesi are inundated, while residents in Medan, North Sumatra face more flooding as rain intensifies. The overflowing river has caused floods up to 3 meters high.
Researchers in East Antarctica think a massive area of fractured ice discovered last month could be the site of a meteorite impact crater. The possible impact crater is about twice the size of Arizona's Barringer meteor crater, which is a mere 3/4 of a mile wide. That crater was formed more than 50,000 years ago, but Mueller and his team think this one may be much newer. Scientists are looking at 2 separate studies that support the idea of a, quote, house-sized meteor creating the crater as recently as 2004. A 2007 study done by American and Canadian researchers found that a large object likely fell to the Earth near the King Baudouin ice shelf in 2004. Another study from scientists at Australia's Davis Station observed a dust trail in the atmosphere consistent with a trail left by a falling meteor.
What the hell is that? Oh my god! Oh my god! I don't want to get that close. Oh shit! Oh my god! What's that, Chinese lantern?
quiet on them.
Heavy flooding in Mozambique has destroyed homes, buildings and bridges. The National Meteorological Institute reported that approximately 119 centimetres of rain fell in the last 24 hours.
An underwater volcano off Tonga is continuing to spew ash hundreds of metres into the air, exploding about every 5 minutes. The volcano, which first erupted in 2009, had been rumbling in recent weeks before exploding violently.
Floods have ravaged the African nation of Malawi, killing almost 200 people and leaving 100,000 homeless. Half of the country has been declared a disaster zone in the wake of torrential rain, which has been unrelenting over the past month.
Large swaths of land remain submerged underwater, destroying thousands of acres of crops and raising fears of a cholera outbreak.
I look up in the sky, and just right in the middle of the sky, a huge fireball with a giant fire tail on it just streaking across the sky.
Usually they don't linger quite so long, so this is exceptional because of how long it stayed in the air.
It's crazy, dude.
Rife says despite its long, slow trip across the sky, this is a meteor.
One Jordan saw was the size of a microwave, and worldwide, only one of those fall every day.
I was freaking out. Never seen anything like that before. Ever.
And chances are he never will again.
Heavy gales raged across northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, filling the air with snow and stranding traffic on roads around the capital, Urumqi. The heavy gale reduced the visibility to within 50 meters on the roads.
Imagine you're driving, you're headed home, and all of a sudden your car literally begins to sink. That is exactly what happened to Ashley Guzman and her boyfriend, Chris Atkinson, before midnight.
We think of Spain, well, we think of probably sea, sand, plenty of sunshine. Snow doesn't necessarily jump to mind, but some areas of the country have been seeing temperatures plunging and a blanket of the white stuff.
It's been rain that has brought misery to the Balkans with yet another round of flooding. Some homes in Sarajevo have seen their 5th round of flooding in 20 months.
After several days of torrential rain, the Huallaga and Huayabamba rivers finally burst their banks on Thursday, sending a surge of floodwaters through the town of Huanhui in central Peru.
The drought that's been affecting the Brazilian city of Sao Paulo is now hitting Sao Paulo state. The region is facing the worst water crisis in its history.
York City getting nearly 10 inches of snow. But that was nothing, because from Long Island, New York, up through Connecticut, straight into Boston and Worcester, all digging out tonight, nearly 3 feet of snow in some places.
Tonight, the blizzard of 2015 crushing the East Coast. Massachusetts pummeled with over 30 inches of snow.
I think you could call it, in fact, an historic event.
Tens of thousands without power across the region. In Connecticut, 30-plus inches of snow in spots, burying cars. In Rhode Island, winds toppling the massive wooden USS Providence. Overnight, travel banned in 5 states. Over 2 feet of snow in Suffolk County, Long Island.
Look at this, David. I mean, buried, and this is just one day.
This NASA image showing the thick layer of white engulfing the East Coast.
The island of Nantucket, where winds reached nearly 80 miles an hour. Along the Massachusetts coastline, sand dunes giving way, a seawall crumbling, making way for the ocean to surge into homes.
This is horrible. We walked this wall yesterday, and it's gone.
5 families have been displaced. Dozens in this area are without water. Thousands of gallons of ice-cold water gushing down Edmonston Drive. That's the car that was swallowed up at around 3 o'clock this morning in this enormous sinkhole with a family of 5 inside. They were awakened by all of the flooding inside their home. They rushed out, grabbed the children, grabbed their belongings, and they were trying to drive off when the street under them collapsed.
The entire house shook. My daughter and my wife both jumped up out of their chairs, wondering what on earth it was.
Suddenly, it felt like there was this massive explosion in my roof, and I thought the house was going to cave in. I hadn't experienced it in quite that magnitude before around here.